Hi guys, welcome to this vlog update. I kind of have to keep reminding myself to make these. It's been my 2025 resolution to update you guys more on what I do musically in life and also kind of share the process on what my job entails. So today in Manchester we actually have sunshine, which we've been waiting for a long time, so we made the most of it this morning. Me and my flatmate Alex, she is a fantastic violinist, we went for a walk in the city centre and it was really nice to see all the lanterns out in celebration of Chinese New Year, Lunar New Year, and I'm back now and I thought it's time to go through this fantastic score that I got sent earlier this week. I arrived back from London doing some auditions, as we do as singers. It was very last minute, called down to London to audition for some exciting projects, so fingers crossed on those. And I arrived back to this wonderful delivery. It is my score for Le Timbre d'Argent. English it is The Silver Bell, and it's an opera by Camille Saint-Säens that I'll be doing with New Sussex Opera in May and early June of this year. I'll be singing the role of Rosa. I'm super excited, and it's gorgeous. It's really beautiful. So right now my plan is to go through the score. I have it on my iPad, but sometimes you just need the physical copy. There's nothing quite like it. I'm going to go through it, I'm going to look at each act in detail, highlight everything with my trusty yellow highlighting pen, and bookmark everything in because I like things to be organised. Rehearsals will start in March and I cannot wait. I can't quite believe that this piece isn't performed that often because it's honestly stunning. It's kind of a bit of a mix in terms of its compositional influences. There's a lot going on. You can see where Saint-Säens has even taken inspiration from Wagner at some points, and there's obviously some like French impressionism coming to the front, but it's gorgeous music. Apparently it was revised 6 times, so there were actually a lot of misfortunes going on, which meant that the premiere was delayed. So this, it's a hidden gem. So especially there's a gorgeous tenor aria in it as well, so tenors, do check this out. So the plot itself is very interesting. Conrad is our protagonist. He is in bed with fever, he is having hallucinations, and he is engaged to Hélène, who is my older sister in this opera, and although engaged to her, he is in love with this dancer Fiammetta, so I'm excited to be working with a professional dancer. That's going to be really cool. And he really, it's his desire to win the dancer's affection, but in order to do that he needs money. My role is Rosa, like I said, the younger sister of Hélène, and I'm engaged to Bénédicte, and Bénédicte is the best friend of Conrad. We have Spiridon, he is the doctor, and he essentially says around midnight tonight, his fever's going to be at its worst. And things go down. Conrad is given this silver bell, and he is told that every time he rings this bell, he will receive money, he'll receive riches beyond his dreams, but it comes at a cost, and that is the life of a loved one. And I don't know whether I should tell you more than that. Come to the shows, you'll find out. So another thing I like to do when I'm learning a role is I like to figure out who was the first person to sing this role. Oftentimes, obviously, it was a long time ago, but there are records mostly on Wikipedia pages that you can look at, and it's a given really that the person who sang the role that you are then learning has a similar voice type to you, similar fach. So if you then have a look at their page, you can then see what other roles they did sing. So I always find that that's a really good way to diversify your repertoire and to find hidden gems, because yes, obviously they'll have sung some standard repertoire, but things like this, I didn't hear about it until I accepted this contract, and it's gorgeous. So that's definitely something I would say have a look out for. I know a lot of singers like to learn their roles back to front. It's quite interesting to me that my brain likes to do things chronologically in order, although what I find interesting about that aspect is that everyone learns differently, and I think it's really important that once you find a method that suits you, run with it. For me, it's always start to end, see what my character's doing, how is my character interacting with the other characters, how has the storyline developed, what has occurred to other characters before I even come on stage, how has that affected what happens with my character. So I would say I would take it from the start, but also be wary of what's going on. I actually think I might do time lapses more often because I really think it helps hold me accountable for working. So yeah, that's food for thought. I've just highlighted most of Act 1. So beautiful. I am now going to go back. I'm going to work at it bit by bit, and I'm also going to have a look at the stage directions. I've gone for a nice yellow for the actual music and lines itself. I'll show you. And then I would like to go with a different colour just at the stage directions. I'm going to translate them as well because the stage directions are still in the original French. I do read French, I speak French and Spanish pretty much fluently, so luckily those are my best languages, but still it's always good to just have it in there, have it all translated easily to view. And I'm going to make a brew because that always fuels my energy for learning. I'm 90% tea. And then I think it'll be time for some stretches, warm-ups, and really tackling this. I've had a look at the cast list for the opera, and I've seen that Helene, my older sister, is going to be played by Skye Ingram, who is a fantastic Aussie soprano. I'm really looking forward to taking on this duet with her and playing sisters. I am a younger sister anyway myself, so at least I kind of know what that's like. Okay, it's time now to do some warm-ups and stretches and all that malarkey, and yeah, I'll start having a good look at the first act. Okay, stretch is done. Now we're over to the piano. Of course, we've got the tea here. Quick tea break. Okay, now I've finished annoying the neighbours with my, joking, they're lovely neighbours, with my warm-ups. It's time to have a wee look at Act 1. These days, I've really found that if I'm learning a new piece, I really like to sing the phrase through to either a rolled R, a wood pigeon, or the raspberry with tongue. Because straight away getting rid of any tongue tension. So really when I'm learning it, I like to maybe do the phrase to one of those, take your pick, whichever one you like to do. It's only since I've really, been started working with students that you realise if you can't do one, maybe you can do the other. It doesn't matter if you're like, oh, I can't roll my R's, but I can do a raspberry. Go with the raspberry. Free everything up, then sing to vowels, and then add in your consonants. So that's kind of how I'd like to do this really, because it takes time, but it just ensures that you're not singing on any tension. Hi Beethoven. Another thing I am going to be conscious of with learning this, because it is in English, is consonants and pronunciation. I've been told that as a native English speaker, sometimes we can just assume that we're enunciating everything perfectly. Like we would if we were to sing Lieder, we'd really be thinking of our consonants and whether we're pronouncing everything as correctly as we should, so the audience can hear every word. Sometimes with English, we just assume we're doing that. So I kind of told myself, knuckle down on it and make sure no stones unturned. I'm gonna put on my time lapse again, just because I've really found that if you film yourself, not in a vain way, but you know that you're kind of watching yourself later working and you want to work, right? Not to be fake or vain or anything, but more as a way of keeping yourself in check. So I'm going to give that a go. One thing I will say about being a pianist as well as a singer is life is so much easier when you can just play not only your vocal part but play the accompaniments as well. I feel like, yeah, it's definitely been a lifesaver to me. So even just being able to underpin the harmony, work out progressions, sometimes I do get a bit sidetracked and just carry on playing the piano part. It used to be a little pastime of mine, especially in COVID, just downloading piano reductions of operas and working on my sight reading that way. This is some really dreamy music, so yeah, try not to get sidetracked. I'll keep working on this. I won't show you the entirety of my practice or else you'll get super bored and this will be super long. But I will say that I also like to listen to recordings when I'm learning a new role, bearing in mind that it can be really easy to try and imitate voices that we hear. So trying to make sure you stay true to yourself whilst taking on positive influences from people that you hear. That's why it's important to listen to different recordings, not always the same one. But in this case, there aren't many recordings of this opera actually. I feel like there's one album I found on Spotify. I'll double check who it was. I think it was a French company. Beautiful blue album cover. I really need to find that out and I'll let you know. So in that case, it can be difficult when it's a premiere, but I actually think that's quite exciting because it means you can really make the role your own. I am looking forward to starting the rehearsal process in March, and I'll see whether I can perhaps interview our conductor, Toby Purser, who's fantastic, and perhaps even Paul Featherstone, who has translated this piece. I remember when I did some volunteer work for National Student Opera Society, we did speak to the wonderful Martin Pickard. Not only is he an incredible musician, pianist, conductor, you name it, but he is an excellent linguist and did do quite a lot of translations of works, especially in the Russian repertoire. And I do think that is a really fantastic skill in itself. So it'd be nice to kind of find out more about the process of that. I'm a bit of a languages nerd, in case you didn't know. I'll leave it here for now, I think. I'm going to keep working on this. But my fellow singers out there, if you want to share tips of your own practice, or of other people want to ask questions about rehearsal, role learning, whatever, I'm here to share but also to learn, because I think in this career we're always learning. So I hope you enjoyed this. Part of me was like, let's not film this is going to be so cringe, but I'm staying true to my 2025 just go for it vibe. So stay tuned. My next All Things Opera podcast will be with film composer Neil Brand. So we'll be talking all things silent film to, major blockbusters, and especially Nosferatu, which has been out in cinemas recently. So yeah, eyes peeled. Bye bye.